nicely. Now, the collision theory of reaction. Generally, when the reaction occurs, there are different theories. Among those theories, the most important theory is collision theory. So, what does this theory says about the reaction kinetics? Let's study here. According to this theory, so according to this theory, a chemical reaction takes place only by collisions between the reacting molecules. So, for any of the chemical reactions to occur, the molecules should collide each other. So, can the collision takes place? Can the colliding molecules go from the product? Is it possible for every type of collision? No, it is not possible. Not all the collisions are effective to give the product. Only small fractions of collisions are effective to give the products, because there is certain amount of energy is required for the colliding particles so that they can form the product. So we will talk about that. So there are two main conditions for a collision between the reacting molecules to be a productive. Productive means they will give the product. The collision will be only productive when they gives the product. If they are not, if the collisions don't give the product, then that is not productive. So for productive collision, what are the conditions? The colliding molecules must possess sufficient kinetic energy to cause the reactions. And the second, the reacting molecules must collide with proper orientation. We'll discuss these 2 points in detail. Let's see here. First one is the molecule must collide with sufficient kinetic energy, because for every collision or for every reaction to occur, there is certain barrier, there is certain energy barrier. The reactants should cross that barrier to form the product. So what is that barrier? That barrier, what is that energy level? That we call activation energy. So the colliding molecules must cross this activation energy to form the product. You can see the graph, for example, and let's consider this reaction in which the reactants AA is one reactants and BB is one reactant, and this will react to form a product AB. They will give two products AB. So for every reaction there is two things happens. One is breaking of bond. So the bond between A and BB will break, and there is formation of new bond, that is bond between A and B. So only the reaction is completed. So for these two process, the major role is the amount of energy. So where the energy comes from this bond breaking, the energy comes from the kinetic energy of the molecule. The molecule are vibrating with different energies. So when they come each other, they collide and they forms, and they will, the total energy of this colliding molecule will be added, and that energy should cross the barrier, this EA barrier. So those molecules which cross this EA barrier, they will give the product. Those molecules, when they collide each other, when they don't cross this barrier, then they will not give this product. And this energy barrier is called the activation energy. This is the minimum energy required for the reacting molecules to form the product. And the next one is the reacting molecules must collide with proper orientation. So the orientation, these molecules, they have different structures. They have, because each molecules may have more than one atom. So when this molecule collide with each other, if the reacting molecules are not facing each other, then if the reacting atoms are, when they don't come in contact, then there is very less chance to form the product. For example, we can see an example here. Some chemical reactions also require that the reactant particles be in particular orientation to produce an effective collision. So the orientation should be should be favorable to form the product. If the orientation is not favorable for formation of product, then it will not form the product. Only the reactant particles possess this orientation. When they collide, the collision will not be an effective one. You can see the example of ozone, reacting of ozone and nitrogen monoxide, that is nitric oxide. So in the reaction, you can see here, generally when this ozone and nitric oxide react, the nitrogen will form the bond with oxygen. So this nitrogen and oxygen should be very close to each other, so then their reaction can occur. But when the orientation is different, in this case, in the first case, the orientation is right. The nitrogen can react with this oxygen atom of the ozone and form the product. In this case, the orientation, in the second example, the orientation is different. This oxygen is close to this oxygen of ozone. But we know that the oxygen is not reacting with this oxygen. This oxygen requires nitrogen for the reaction. So in this case, in this time, the two molecules bounce each other and they go to the original position. They don't react. So the orientation of the reacting molecules is also important for the formation of product. So there are some limitations of this collision theory. I will give you this as an assignment. You can write from the book. Now, temperature is also a very important part for the reaction. Temperature affects the rate of reaction, and how it affects the rate of reaction we can study here. Generally, in general, increase in temperature will increase the rate of reaction. Why? Because when we increase the temperature, the kinetic energy of the molecules increases. When the kinetic energy of the molecule increases, then they will have higher energy, then they can easily cross the activation energy and they will give the product. So increase in temperature increases the reaction rate. So as a rule, there is one finding that increasing temperature by 10 degrees Celsius doubles the reaction rate. Every time if we increase the reaction by 10 degrees Celsius, there is increase in rate by 2 times. Now if you calculate the rate constant at two temperatures which differ by 10 degrees Celsius, then we get the value 2 to 3, that is temperature coefficient. It will be equal to 2 to 3 times. So RNS, the scientist RNS has given one equation. From the equation we can calculate the activation energy on the basis of temperature and rate constant. So let's see, talk about this equation. This equation was developed by RNS in 1889, and in this equation we have different variables, and in this equation we can determine these different variables in different temperature. It is well established that the kinetic energy of the gas is directly proportional to its temperature. That's we all know. So when the temperature of a system is increased, then more and more molecules will tend to reach the higher energy level greater than EA, that is activation energy, leading to the reaction to occur. So this is the reason why temperature increase in temperature increases the rate of reaction. So in this equation given by RNS, this A is the experimental determined value, E is activation energy, R is gas constant, and T is temperature in Kelvin. So from this equation is very important in the later part of our topics, because we use this equation to calculate the calculate the shelf life, that is shelf life of medicine, expiry date. We can use this equation to calculate the expiration date of the drugs. So this equation is very important. So we can simplify this equation this way also, in logarithm form. log K is equal to EA by 2.303 RT plus log A. You can simplify the above equation in this form. So if you are taking two different temperature, then there will be two different reaction or rate constant, isn't it? The rate constant is different in different temperature. So if we consider T1 and T2, then rate constant will be K1 and K2. Then the reaction, then the RNS equation can be written as like this way. Now, what are the factors that affect the rate? First one is there are four main factors that can affect the rate of reaction, chemical reaction. One is reactant concentration. As you know that we all know, the increasing the concentration of one or more of the reactant, then it will increase the rate of reaction. The physical state of the reactant and surface area, isn't it? If you reduce the size of the particles, that is the size of the reacting substance, then obviously there will be increase in surface area and there will be increase in rate of reaction. For example, if reactant molecules exist in different phase, as in heterogeneous mixture, the rate of reaction will be limited by the surface area of the phase that are in contact. For example, in a solid metal, reactant and gas reactant are mixed. Only the molecule present on the surface of the metal are able to collide with the gas molecule. Therefore, increasing the surface area of the metal by pounding it flat or cutting it into many pieces will increase the rate of reaction. So I think you all know about the reaction between zinc and hydrochloric acid, isn't it? In that case, if we put the zinc in small pieces, then the rate of reaction is very high compared to zinc or big zinc plate, isn't it? If we put very large zinc plate, then the reaction will be certain value. But if we cut the zinc plate into small particles, small size, then the reaction will be relatively very high. So the surface area or the state of reaction, physical state of the reactant is also very important to determine the rate of reaction. And temperature, we all know that temperature is very important, because with the increase in temperature, the kinetic energy of the reacting molecules increases and it will ultimately increase the rate of reaction. And presence of catalyst. Catalyst, what is catalyst? It is anything that enhances the rate of reaction without taking part in the reaction, isn't it? Catalyst, it will not take part in the reaction. It will remain as it is in the reaction. When the reaction completes, then the amount of catalyst would also be the same. The reactant will complete to form the product, but the amount of catalyst will not change. What is the role of catalyst? Only to increase the rate of reaction. How will it increase the rate of reaction? It has been said that catalyst decreases the activation energy of the reaction. When the activation energy of the reactant is decreased, then more and more reacting molecules will form the product, because that they can easily cross the barrier of activation energy. Now let's see how this catalyst affect the activation energy. For example, let's see the graph here. Generally, this graph is about the Maxwell-Boltzmann distribution. Here you can see the position of activation energy. Here, this is the activation energy, and this y-axis gives the number of particles, and this blue line indicates the number of particles that do not have enough energy to react, isn't it? The amount of the amount of reactants which don't have enough energy to cross the activation energy, and this is the amount of particles or reactants which have enough energy to cross the activation energy. So in a certain reaction, it is a indication of the distribution of energy in the reacting molecules, isn't it? The distribution of energy in the reactant molecule, we can see that this area is very high. That means about 90% of the reactants, they don't have energy to cross the barrier. So only 10% of the reactants, they have enough energy to cross the barrier. So if you increase this area, then the rate of reaction will also increase, isn't it? If you increase this area. So the main role of the catalyst is that it will increase this area. How? Because the number of particles with having higher energy will be increased by the use of catalyst. So this area will increase this way, it will come here, and the rate of reaction will automatically increase. So that is the main role of catalyst. We can see the graph. We can see how catalysts affect the activation energy. For example, you can see the graph here. This y-axis represents the energy, and this x-axis represents the reaction coordinate. That is how reaction is occurring, the energy level of reactants and products when the reaction occurs. So we can see here, this is the EA is the activation energy when there is no catalyst. It is very high. The activation energy is very high. So when we use the catalyst, the activation energy is decreased, isn't it? So how it is decreased? Because the reactant molecules will combine with the catalyst and it form the complex, and this complex has low activation energy. So the reactants, so the complex having reactants and catalyst will automatically keep the product. And so using catalyst, we can decrease the activation energy. So the activation energy less, so more and more molecules can cross this barrier and it will form product. So the role of catalyst is only to decrease the activation energy. It will not decrease the total change in energy of the reaction. That is, the energy of product and energy of reactant is always same. You can see here, this is the energy of reactant and this is energy of product. It is always same. Whether the reactants follow this path to give the product, or whether the reactants follow this path to give the product, the change in internal energy or total energy of the reaction is same. So you should not be confused that the activation energy will change the total energy of the change in total energy of the reactants. That is not the case. The activation energy, the catalyst will only decrease the activation energy. There is no change in the energy difference between reactant and product. There are different types of catalysts that among them one is acid-base catalyst. This acid-base catalyst is the word indicates, the acid and base can be used as a catalyst to enhance the reaction. For example, let's see the reaction of this inversion of cane sugar. This cane sugar C12H20O11 is converting into glucose and fructose in presence of hydrogen. So here this hydrogen ion that is from acid, this hydrogen ion from acid is catalyzing the reaction. Similar, this ketone group, this ketone acetone is being reduced to ethanol form. So here it is also catalyzed with this hydrogen, and this both H plus and OS minus, that is both hydrogen and hydroxyl ion from acid or base, helps to enhance the rate of reaction. Now, in terms of this acid-base catalyst, only H plus and OS minus are not the acid-base catalyst. There are other weak acid, weak bases are also there, or other Bronsted base roasted acid are also there which catalyze the reaction. For example, this undissociated acid like acetic acid, cation of weak base like NH4 plus and water, they also catalyze the reaction. And in case of this, not only OH minus but roasted base like this anions of weak acid like CH3CO minus undissociated bases, they also catalyze the reaction. So there is another assignment. I think you are doing the assignment. This is the, you have to write the mechanism. It is very short one. You can check the book and write the mechanism. Now enzyme catalysis. Enzyme catalysis is the reaction in which the enzyme play the important role to increase the rate of reaction. So whenever this enzyme catalysis reaction whenever this enzyme catalysis reaction happens, we should consider the biological system, because most of the enzymatic reaction occurs in biological system, that is plant and animals, because plant and animal are the house of many kinds of enzymes. There are numerous organic reactions that takes place inside human body and human body, animals, plants, which are catalyzed by enzymes. All enzymes have been found to be complex protein molecules. So what are enzymes? Enzymes are the complex structure of proteins. The building block of all enzymes are proteins. Enzymes are formed from proteins. Enzymes are protein molecules which act as catalysts to speed up the organic reactions in living cells. The catalysis brought about by enzyme is known as enzyme catalysis. So each enzyme is produced in particular living cells to catalyze a reaction. Many enzymes have been identified and obtained in pure crystalline form from the cell to which they belong. So from the scientific technologies, from the advanced technologies, the scientists have been able to isolate the enzymes. They have been able to find the 3D structure of enzymes. They also have been able to find the crystal form of the enzymes. So there are different types of enzymes, and one important thing is that enzymes, they have priority, they have role in particular reaction only. It is not that one enzyme can catalyze many reactions. That enzyme is focused to particular type of reaction. For example, in case of inversion of cane sugar, we have invertase. For converting glucose into ethanol, we have zymase. For hydrolysis of urea, we have urease. So they have particular enzyme for particular reaction. It is not that one enzyme will catalyze many reactions. That is the specification of enzyme. A specific enzyme is suitable for, or a specific enzyme will help a specific reaction to occur. What is the mechanism for enzyme catalysis? There is one very popular mechanism, that is lock and key theory, for from which we can explain how enzyme catalyzes the reaction. So according to this theory, the enzymes are considered as a certain structure which can fit with the reactant. So we consider that enzyme has different cavities, and in the different cavities, these cavities which are of characteristic shape, and they are bound with different active groups like NH2, COS, SS, OS. and they are called active centers. The molecule of the substrate which have complementary shape fit into these cavities just as key fits into lock. By virtue of this presence of active groups, the enzyme forms an active complex which with the substrate which at once decompose to yield the product. Thus, the substrate molecules enter the cavities, form complex and react, and at once product are formed. So from this theory, the enzymes have different cavities, and they have particular cavities in the at the surface, and these particular cavities have different functional groups like NH2COH, SHOS, which help to form the complex with the substrate. And when the substrate form complex with the enzyme, when the substrates fit into this cavity, the one important thing is that the substrate should have also particular orientation to fit the cavity. If the substrate has different orientation which cannot fit the substrate, then reaction cannot take place. So the substrate should also fit into these cavities, isn't it? Like it has half circular cavity, it has triangular cavity. So the substrate will fit into this enzyme cavities, and it will form complex, and the complex enzyme complex will give the product. So this is called lock and key theory for enzyme catalysis. Now there are some specific features of this enzyme catalysis. Let's talk about these features. The first one is enzymes are the most efficient catalyst known. Enzymes are the most efficient. Why they are most efficient? Because one molecule of enzyme can react with millions of molecules of reactants. So if you have the concentration of reactants is very large, then the amount of enzyme required is very less. In case of inorganic, in case of other reactions where these enzymes are not used, like platinum. In case of platinum, where we use as catalyst, we use large amount of platinum. We need large amount of this platinum. But in case of enzyme, if we have very small amount of enzyme also, it can has the power to react with large number of reactants, and greater capacity of lowering activation energy compared to inorganic catalysts. As I say, what are inorganic catalysts? Inorganic catalysts are like platinum. They are inorganic catalysts. Enzyme is organic catalyst. This enzyme has higher capacity to lower the activation energy. For example, decomposition of hydrogen peroxide without a catalyst is 18 kilocalorie, that is activation energy. When we use platinum, the activation energy is lower to 11.7. But when we use the enzyme, look here, the activation energy is less than 2 calories. So it is, enzymes are more efficient than inorganic catalyst. The second one is enzyme catalysis is backed by absolute specificity. An enzyme as a rule catalyzes just one reaction with particular substance. For example, urease, an enzyme derived from the soybean, catalyzes the hydrolysis of urea and no other amide, not even methyl urea. So I already told that enzymes are very specific. They catalyze only specific reaction. They cannot use for different types of different functional groups. They need particular functional groups. The rate of enzyme catalysis reaction is maximum at optimum temperature, isn't it? If you increase the temperature, the enzyme reaction will increase. After a certain temperature, the enzyme catalysis will not take place, because at the temperature, the enzyme above the temperature, the enzyme will degrade. That is denaturation, because enzyme is a protein. When we increase the protein to higher level, the protein starts to denaturate, so the enzyme will not function. And similarly, enzyme catalysis reaction happens at optimum pH, isn't it? For example, in our body, the pH is 7.4. So all the enzymes in our body, they will work best in this pH. If our body pH is decreased or increased, then the enzyme will not work properly, and we will suffer from different diseases. And enzymes are markedly inhibited by or poisoned. It means enzyme catalyst can be stopped. Poisoning means we can stop the enzyme catalysis. So there are different techniques for stopping the enzyme catalysis reaction. So there are different drugs. This is the example of different drugs, because in our body, when we have disease, then certain enzymes are activated. So we use the drug to stop that enzyme. So we get remedy from the disease. So you can, sometimes we eat poison. So the poison will stimulate certain enzymes, isn't it? So that will harm our body. And in that case, we use antidote, that the antidote will stop the enzyme and we will feel better. So you have to write some examples. Okay, this is not so hard. Now the last chapter is drug decomposition. This is